Hello, hello. Today is very exciting because we're going to be joined by someone who is really a legend in the diabetes community. His name is Neil Greathouse. He's on Instagram at the BTs, and you might also have heard of his podcast, Your Best Year in T1D. He's fantastic. He shares super practical information. He's been diabetic for decades. He's been posting information about diabetes for decades. He's really thorough with his research. Everything that he talks about is really accurate and science-based, but also super relatable and practical and entertaining. And his focus is really on helping us form better habits as diabetics, about being consistent. So not about some big dramatic change that's going to happen in your life, but something small that you can build on and just do every single day and slowly over time improve your blood sugar. So we absolutely love his content. We love his attitude, his approach to diabetes. We're big fans. And today he's going to be on the podcast with us. So we're thrilled about that. And I have him all to myself because Tracy is bike packing in Norway. She's doing a 1,100 kilometer cycle adventure. Don't worry, I'm compensating by watching lots of TV and lazing around just so that we're all balanced and even. So it's going to be me and Neil today. And we've split the episode into two parts because we chatted so much. So the first part is just talking about Neil, his diagnosis, his attitude to diabetes. He has a pretty incredible diagnosis story. Then the second part, which we'll bring out next week, is all about his challenges. So each month or each couple of months, he runs a different challenge to help you improve your diabetes. So we're going to talk through those, why those challenges matter, how they can improve your diabetes. Hopefully lots of fun tips and useful data in there for you as well. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Here is Neil Greathouse. And welcome to Correction Dose, the diabetes podcast where we cover everything your endocrinologist doesn't have time for. I'm Kate.
And I'm Tracy. We're two friends on a mission to live our best lives with type 1 diabetes.
And hopefully help you do the same.
Just a reminder that the contents of this podcast are not medical advice, and always talk to your doctor before making decisions about your diabetes care.
Neil, thank you so much for joining us on Correction Dose.
Hello. So good to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Unfortunately, Tracy is cycling. I mean, not unfortunately, amazingly, she is cycling 10,000 kilometers or something in Norway. I don't know what the real number is, but it sounds as crazy as that to me.
Yeah.
So she's not with us, but she has sent me all her thoughts and what she wants me to chat about. So she is here with us in spirit.
Tracy, if you're listening right now, keep pedaling. You're doing fantastic. We're all cheering for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Eating her dehydrated food in a hut somewhere. I'd love today to dive into some of the challenges that you've set up this year as part of your content and your podcast and so on. But first, we have to go through some of the compulsory topics for diabetics, meeting diabetics.
Yeah.
How long? When were you diagnosed?
Sure.
Where are you at now?
Okay. So today is 34 years and 139 days. The only reason why I know that is every single time I post on social media, I started posting about type 1 in February of 2008. You can catch your breath there for a little while if you need to. That sounds like a long time ago. It was. It sounds like pre-internet. It's not that old, but I started YouTube videos back then. I have an app in my phone that keeps track of, anniversaries, birthdays, and diagnosis date was a big date in my life. And then it's two little emojis. One is an injection emoji and one is a little blood droplet emoji. So I was diagnosed when I was in the United States Air Force. I was in flight training. It was my dream job. Nobody in my family has type 1, and it hit me out of nowhere. I got very, very sick. I don't know what the conversion would be for this from like millimoles over to milligrams per deciliter, but my blood sugar was 1,800. I'd been sick for about 3 months, and I just kept pushing because my job was it was everything to me. I'd worked for 4.5 years to get to that point, all this training, all this work. And my body just shut down on me. And I didn't know why. I had no idea. I was like, I know this training is hard, but why is it this hard? And it turns out my pancreas had clocked out a while back. And so I just kept pushing for 3 months. And 2 of my roommates, they knew that I was sick. They saw me dropping weight left and right. And you think, wow, I'm really getting cut. Like, oh my gosh, and I'm just a young man. I'm like, look at me. I'm doing fantastic. It was not doing fantastic, Kate. It was not good. So pushed through all of that for about 3 months and then just wound up in the hospital. I just couldn't do it anymore. I knew something was wrong, but like an idiot, like most people, most young men whose their cerebral cord, their brain is not developed. I just kept pushing through it like an idiot because you think you're invincible.
And that's not how the Tom Cruise movie goes, is it? He doesn't wind up in hospital.
Right. Exactly. Like it didn't happen to him. Why does this happen to me? So yeah, I just, one day we were coming back from some of our flight training stuff and we were literally going back like in our military uniforms. We're walking back from class and I just had to sit down on the curb. And I told my 2 roommates, I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, if I take another step, I'm not going to make it. And they're like, what are you? They thought I was joking, but they also realized, oh, he's actually being serious right now. So I went in the hospital for about a week, lost my eyesight. It just went completely blurry because my blood sugar had been so high for so long that it really jacked up my eyes. But the human body is kind of amazing. It's just sort of adapted. And the blood vessels in my eyes had really just changed the lens, the shape of my eyeball over those months.
Wow.
When it went back, like when my blood sugar went back to normal, my eyesight went super blurry for like a week. And I remember my commanding officer walked in and I heard his voice, but couldn't see him. And he's standing at the foot of my bed and he just says, all right, son, your flying career is over. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to find a different way to serve your country. And I was like, okay. And at the time, not really thinking much of it. But then a couple of days later, somebody sits down and talks to me, that personnel coordinator type person that, that's in charge of, what your role is in the military. And they're like, if you want to serve in one of 2 areas, you just pick which one. I was like, point me in the right direction, Cap. I got it. They're like, you could be a bus driver or you could be a garbage collector. You have those 2 options. I was like, bro, I feel very unpatriotic right now, but I'm so sorry. This is not what I thought it was going to be. So I went back home, went back to college, finished out with a completely different degree. And there we are.
What a tough, I think that's one of the hardest diagnosis stories I've heard because you literally had to change your whole, like your identity, your career, you were Tom Cruise. And then they were like, would you like to collect trash? It's so hard.
It is hard, but I'll be honest with you, Caitlin. I don't like how I got here, but I love where I am. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a fair way to say it. I wouldn't have chosen this, but I love taking what I went on to learn more about, which is creative writing and filmmaking and storytelling and teaching and coaching, to turn that into helping other people who are probably in the same situation. Like that is one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done with my life. So I don't look at it like, hang on, like just to be totally fair, like it was devastating. I'm not devastated anymore, but it was like somebody kept punching you in the stomach. You're like, this is not the way that it was supposed to go. But every day is day one. That's the way I approach it. It's a new day to try again. And everybody's having one of those day one moments. Honestly, somebody out there is getting diagnosed for the first time today. If I can do something, you do this. You and Tracy do this so well. You put out stories that are helpful to people who are finding out it's their day one, or it's people who have been doing this for a while and they just kind of, the car's kind of in the ditch, right? They're not doing the things they know they should be doing. They're not doing the things they used to do. And they're like, I got to get back on the horse. That horse and a car analogy don't work, but you know what I'm talking about. They're like, I got to get back at it. And your podcast and your helpfulness helps give people, they're like, okay, I'm not in this by myself. So I think it's a privilege to be able to do this right alongside you guys.
And we're so lucky to have you as a community. And, you know, who knows, you've probably helped more people doing this than maybe you would have as a pilot.
Kidding.
You know, this is a role of service too. You've served your country and beyond in a totally different way.
Thank you.
Tracy asked me to ask you, what is your why? And this is a very Tracy phrasing of a question. But I think what she means is, why are you working in this role? Why are you working in the community in this way? What drives you?
Wow. Well, Tracy, thanks for going straight to the point. Kate, for about 7 years, I did not take care of myself because I was running the other direction from it. And I woke up one day and realized it's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for my wife. I had gotten married in that in between time. And, you know, we wanted to start a family. We wanted to do all this stuff. And I realized this is not helpful. I'm actually scaring some of the people that are around me. It wasn't just like, if you're not going to do it for you, do it for somebody else. And one day it clicked. I had a low moment. It was incredibly low. And I saw the look on my wife's face and she was scared. And I realized what I was doing, this cavalier mentality towards my type 1 diabetes, it wasn't sustainable long term. And I didn't feel confident in any of it. And so I put my head down, finally started listening to some of the stuff the doctor said, and then couldn't find very much time with the doctor. So I had to go out and start researching it myself. I called endocrinologists, like cold call, pick up the phone, like, hey, I know you don't know me, but I have questions. It was that stupid, like that level of, I'm going to go research. I'm going to go do this. I took it on myself to start educating people before the platforms really existed for it. So I made a video in 2008 about my insulin pump, and I did it for the people that I worked with because they kept asking me questions. And I thought it was funny and it was goofy. And that video just sort of took off. I don't know why. I still don't know why. I was very self-deprecating. I was making fun of myself a little bit, but it was fairly educational at the same time. And then I made another one, and then made another one, and made another one. And over time, the why wasn't me anymore. It was all of these other people who were having their day one moments. I ended up directing a short film called Type 1 Day One. It was just about, what do you do on your day one? And it wasn't even just me in front of the camera. It was a lot of people sent in footage about, hey, this is what I would say to you on your day one. Have you ever seen the movie 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, it's a classic.
It was based off of that. I was like, if I woke up and found out I had type 1, what is the VHS tape I would want to put in the VCR and play to myself to let me know that it's going to be okay? Made that, and it did incredibly well. Nick Jonas helped contribute to it. Beyond Type 1 did it. I started helping Beyond Type 1, and then the helpful content just kept going. I started making a video every single day for a year, started writing books. All that stuff was because I didn't have that help at the beginning. And I'm just trying to do for somebody else what I didn't have for myself. So that's my why.
Yeah, I relate to a lot of that because my mom took me once when I was about 13 or 14 to a support group of other teenagers, and they all sat in a circle and moaned about how much they hated being diabetic. And I was like,
so sorry.
Don't you ever take me. These people are miserable.
Right. Yeah, I'm not one of them. Don't do that.
No, I just ignore it and carry on with my life, and I'm much happier. So can't do that forever. You can't do that forever. And it turns out actually that other diabetics are lovely. Right.
No kidding.
You just have to get over that thing of not wanting to be, I don't know. I think when you're younger, you're like, I don't want to be known as a diabetic. Or I don't want to identify as a diabetic and have diabetic friends and go on diabetic camps. At least that's how I felt. And now I'm like, yeah, bring it on. These are my people.
Yeah. How cool is it to be known somewhere? But it's really tricky when you're younger and you're trying to find your identity and you're like, but I don't want it to be that because I didn't have any choice in that being part of my identity because nobody wants to be told what to do. At least me. I don't want you to tell me what to do. So we run from it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about your best year with T1D and the sort of concept behind it. Because I think what we do is often we come up with a topic, we do one episode on it and we move on. But your approach is different. You're taking one topic and you're doing a lot of content about it and I'm intrigued by this approach. I think it's really cool because I think diabetes is not something that you do for an hour a month, right? Or an hour a week, like a podcast. It's something that's sometimes you have to hear the message 100 times in different ways and find the way that it works for you or hear a different angle of it. Some people relate to the science. Some people relate to the thing where they go, oh, I just have to remember this quote from a film and then I remember how to do this thing. So I think it's such a cool approach, but I'd love to know kind of how you came up with it and why you like to approach things in that way.
So there's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I would highly recommend everyone read it. I have a few books that I will reread every year, and that's one of them. And the general concept is I'll say the statement. I don't think James Clear actually says this, but consistency beats intensity every single time. What we are consistently doing is really what determines how life is going to go for us. You know, Tracy didn't just decide to jump on the bike today and go on this like she's been consistent. You know what I mean? Like you guys, you know, if I am practicing this, then I'm going to learn more through the practice of it. The tricky part about type 1 diabetes is because there's no finish line, because there's no, oh my gosh, I did it. Now I don't have to do it anymore. That doesn't happen with type 1. So it's like the looming dread of type 1. If you can get this mindset that you're not going to fix all of your type 1 diabetes in one big moment, it's the little boring, mundane, every single day moments that are difficult to celebrate. Like, hey, I drank more water today. Great job, man. I mean, I don't know what that does for you, but great job. Like, we don't know how to celebrate that. But if you can celebrate the consistency of it. So about 4 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to post an educational video every single day for a year. Didn't miss one day. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, all of that. It was exhausting. My wife would be in the other room like, oh my gosh, are you still doing this? Would you stop? Like I annoyed my family, my friends, people like stopped following. They were like, this guy will not shut up about it. But I'm like, if I can consistently do this, I'm going to learn something over the long haul. And what I learned is that people don't pick up a habit just because we have one short little video on it. So that eventually led to a book that I wrote. It's Type 1 Diabetes One Day at a Time. And it's 90 days of little tiny, almost like journal entry. We can't absorb everything. How does insulin work? What is the onset? What is the duration? What is the peak of insulin? Rapid acting, ultra rapid acting? I'm not going to remember any of that if you read an entire chapter on it. But if you give me a little tiny bit at a time, I'll get that. Like, be consistent. So I did your best T1D year. I did it last year and it was an experiment. So 2025 was an experiment. I'm like, can I do this? So I picked 12 topics and spent 1 month doing those. And I thought at the time, that's going to feel like forever. No one wants to hear about mental health or diabetes burnout for a month. I don't know if I want to talk about it for a month, but I learned something. People don't pick up the concept of it, why something is important, why they're afraid of it, or why they won't do it, and then learn how to do it. They don't pick that up in a week or a month. It actually takes, on average, it takes 66 days for somebody to put a habit into practice. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, I'm going to make one video and that's going to solve all the world's problems and we're going to be great. You know what I mean? Like that's why you keep doing episodes of your podcast. It's the consistency over time. You don't know who's going to listen to this one that has never listened to it before, or is going to start listening and then they're just going to binge consume it. So you just consistently keep doing it. So I did that for last year and realized 12 topics is too many, if you can believe that.
Wow.
So this year it's just 6. It's just 6 concepts split out over 2 months at a time. And those topics this year have been very, very simple. We're on a pre-bolus challenge right now, talking for 2 straight months about how do you pre-bolus. But people don't pre-bolus for different reasons. I don't know why. I don't get to say why you don't pre-bolus or why you do. Some people are afraid of it. Some people don't know how to do it. Some people forget to do it. Some people are confused. You know what I mean? There's so many different reasons. So if I can do a podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's 5 to 7 minutes, that just gives them just enough to get through the next couple days. And I can build a habit that way and teach them something and then teach them, here's how you do it. I feel like it has a much better shot at it. What do I know, Kate? I'm just out here doing what I can. Who knows? I could be wrong about all this, but I'm going to keep trying. How about that?
I love it. And please do keep trying, because I think one of the things that makes us apathetic as diabetics and makes us feel hopeless is that we don't know why we don't do things. You know, we know, all of us know not to rage bolus. We know not to overtreat our lows. You know, sometimes you eat a snack and you think, I should probably take a unit or 2 for that, but I'm just not going to. And you can't explain to yourself, why didn't I do it? Why didn't I just do it? And you just don't. And I think having an opportunity to think of diabetes as like a behavior change project or a habit project or just a psychological project the same as like running a marathon or something is so useful, because when you go into your endocrinologist's office, they talk about none of that.
Right.
Everybody just expects you to do this kind of ongoing, really challenging, high stakes project without teaching you the behavior change element.
Right.
And I love the mundane element of what you spoke about how it's really about things like drinking water, because I do think both doctors and researchers and activists, they're often talking about, don't worry, we're getting this new pump.
Right.
All these big things. And I think, yeah, that's true. Maybe that will change your life. Maybe you'll go on a hybrid closed loop pump and suddenly everything will be easy and your HbA1c will come crashing down and you'll never feel sad about diabetes again. But you know what? Probably not. Like, probably tomorrow morning you need to drink a glass of water when you get up. Probably you need to, count your carbs, just these really boring things that are not sexy. They're not fun to talk about, but they work.
You are so right. I think we want it to be that simple. Like some technology or new gear or new gadget or whatever is going to fix a lot of the things. I mean, maybe, but I can't rely or sit around waiting for somebody else to do that. I got to be responsible for me today. So if that means that I'm going to get better sleep, Caitlin, nobody's talking about going to sleep earlier, because your doctor doesn't have time to tell you that the amount of sleep is not as important as consistently going to bed at the same time. I didn't realize this. I spent about 3 months researching what does sleep have as far as an impact on our blood sugars and on our control. And I thought it was going to be, you need to get 8 hours of sleep, which I didn't want to have to say to anybody. And turns out that actually doesn't matter. It blew my mind that if you can go to bed within the same hour every single night, like within that same 60 minutes, if you can go to bed consistently at the same time, your blood sugar time in range and morning blood sugars will stabilize at least a little bit more. Not the amount of sleep. Why didn't anybody tell me that? I had no idea. Drink water. Okay, well, how much water is helpful? I mean, is it a glass? When you drink a gallon? What is that? All right, let's learn about that, because your doctor's not going to tell you. I'm sorry, they're just not. They don't have time.
So that was part one of my conversation with Neil. Next time, we're going to chat through some of the challenges he has set this year for his followers to help them have their best year with T1D. And it's a conversation that's packed with useful tips and data. So tune in to hear the second part of our chat next week. Otherwise, if you'd like to get in touch, we're at Correction Dose on Instagram. You can email Kate, CAIT, at correctiondose.com, or jump onto our website to sign up to our weekly newsletter. And other than that, have a fab week. And hopefully you're more relaxed than Tracy is on her super long cycle. And if you want to check out her adventure, she's posting about that on Instagram too. Okay, bye.